I first encountered this sort of, I don't know what to call it, a confluence perhaps of Mormonism and my academic work in my first year of graduate school, because my professors would ask me questions. You know, we're reading Hegel and he's talking about history. So what is this Mormon talking about restoration? What does that have to do with that? How do you think that? So it really first began primarily because other people were asking me questions that I had never thought about. Or someone said, I understand Mormons believe in eternal progression. How can you cross an infinite gap in a finite amount of time and become like God? And I thought those were brilliant questions, and I had no answers. So I started thinking about them. But I didn't do any thinking about them in my own academic work. They were just sort of bubbling there for a long time until after I got tenure and began to work. And what I found was that by asking that kind of question, I think asking the question of how is it that a Mormon engages as a Mormon with this particular philosophical idea, I had ideas of my own which I think they have relevance to Mormonism, but I think they also just have relevance to some of the questions at hand. For example, I was in a Nietzsche and a Nietzsche conference in December, and one of the big question there was the question of nothingness. Is there, what is there, and so on. And it dawned on me that this Mormon idea that there is this pre-creative chaos out of which God creates things fits well with the kinds of things that thinkers like Nietzsche and Heidegger and others are thinking, and yet at the same time is a religious idea. So I gave a paper making an argument for the possibility of religion in what would otherwise seem to be an atheistic world. And I thought it was relatively well received. And in the paper itself, I don't have to depend upon Mormonism, as I don't have to cite Mormon texts or something like that. But the fact that I had been thinking about this idea from the point of view of a Mormon perspective on the world really did help me think about that issue. So I sort of came about it sideways, but it's become the central interest of my work.